Hi friends, welcome back to the Scapegoat Club. My name's Jess, I'm a therapist, and this video is all about abuse. Are you in an abusive relationship? When do we go from a difficult, unhealthy, not the best kind of relationship to full-on abuse? Where is the line? What does that look like? Stay tuned and we will talk about it. Hi friends, welcome back to the Scapegoat. So I'm Chess. I was in an abusive family system. I've extracted myself now, and I am also a therapist with a specialty in dealing with narcissistic abuse, narcissistic families, estrangement, things like that. So I want to talk about abuse. I did my previous video basically saying that we do not owe our abusers anything. It's so important to remember that when someone is deliberately harming us or not able to hear us when we say, "You're harming me, stop it," then we need to remember that we don't owe these people anything, and we need to do what we need to do to keep ourselves safe. I think where we can get really caught up though is when we've been in a family system where abuse is kind of normal, and we have either learned to justify it, we have learned to brush it under the carpet, or we actually just don't recognize it as being abusive because it's been happening to us for so long that it's just our reality and our normal. And I think what can happen when we start to figure out that the relationship we're in isn't super healthy, especially when we're with a manipulative, narcissistic kind of person, is that when we can start to call them out, they then twist it back on us. Oh, we're being too sensitive, or they didn't mean it that way, or because we did something, they acted in a certain way, so it's kind of our fault. It's that kind of you did this, therefore I had to react that way, therefore actually Chess, this is your fault. We can get really caught up in those loops. We can also get very caught up in relationships that are should, and I'm going to use that word, they should be loving, when it's a parent, when it's a brother or a sister, when it's someone who has a caring role over us, especially when we're children. Those people should be kind and loving and have our best interests at heart. Sadly, there are people in this world who don't know how to have loving relationships and don't know how to be kind and generous and supportive and to put other people's needs ahead of what they need. So we can get very caught up in, do they mean it, and is it really harmful? We want to have a relationship with these people because we're wired that way, because society tells us, or because there's a lot at stake, there's other people involved, and we don't want to lose other people. So I want to be very clear in this video though that when we're talking about an abusive relationship, again, following on from the last one, we do not owe people anything. It's not our job to educate them. It's not our job to make excuses for them. It's not our job to accommodate them when we are being harmed. So, coming back to the definition of abuse. Abuse is deliberate cruelty or causing harm to other people. There is no definition under the abuse, whether it's deliberate or not deliberate. And so, first of all, if you're getting caught on that piece, let's just say, if someone, you're not sure if they know that what they're doing is harming you, tell them. It's an easy thing to do. Tell them, well, I'm sorry, it's a simple thing to do, it's not an easy thing to do. But tell them what they're doing is harming you and it's not acceptable, and you need to change the relationship or ensure that it doesn't keep happening. If they continue to do it, then it is deliberately abusive, and then we need to decide what we're going to do. So coming to that definition of abuse, it's when someone is being cruel and they're causing another person harm. That's the definition in brief of an abusive relationship. And so when we take that definition, I think sometimes we need to take a bit of a pause and say, okay, well, what is harm? And is it cruel? Because again, if we've grown up in these relationships, or we've been in, say, an abusive partner relationship, an abusive marriage for a really long time, we get skewed in terms of what normal is and what is acceptable and what is okay. Because life is grey. Sometimes relationships are a little bit up and down. Nobody is perfect. No relationship is perfect. So how do we make the decision around whether our relationship is causing us harm? So I think I've counted 4 questions as to questions you can ask yourself to decide whether this is abuse. And so my first test for whether something is abusive is, first of all, how bad it was. Did we end up in the hospital? Have we ended up talking to a professional? Have we needed to see a doctor or a social worker, a counsellor, a psychiatrist because of the problems we're having? If we're seeking professional medical help for the consequences of this relationship, then that is not a good sign. That is a huge, huge, huge red flag. And for me, if we need that help, then it's causing us harm, and that is abuse. So the second thing is, okay, well, then what if things are kind of below the radar? What if they're not that bad yet, or they haven't been as bad that you have needed to, or felt that you needed to go and see a professional? My second test in that situation is, are these things ongoing? Do they keep happening? Is it a pattern that's been going on for years and years and years? And if it's one that you've called out, especially when you've said, hey, this isn't okay, or I want to try something different, and that's not changing, then that is a big red flag for me. I'm not saying it's definitely abusive, excuse me, but it's a very big red flag when it keeps going and going and going and going, and your attempts to change it and make it better and to stand up for what you want in the relationship are going unheard, unheeded, and nothing is changing. I would combine that test with this next test, which I think is number 3, which is, would you do it to somebody else? Would you treat somebody else in the way that this person, the person we think is being abusive or you suspect is being abusive, is treating you? Would you treat somebody else that way? So that's a really good test. If we wouldn't do that to somebody else, if it kind of turns our moral compasses upside down and we're like, oh no, that just doesn't feel right, that's not how I do things, that's a really good test. Ask a friend, would they do that? A friend that you appreciate and respect and like the way they do relationships, would they do that to somebody? If this is abuse that is in the past a little bit and you're not sure about your recollection, or we were younger and so our memory's a little bit distorted, thinking back to those memories, if you were a child, would you now treat a child in that way? As an adult now, would you treat a child in your care, under your love? Would you treat them in the way that you were treated? Again, if the answer is no, you wouldn't do that, and you're like, oh no, that just doesn't seem right to me, then that, to me, my friends, is a really big test as to that there's something not good here. The last test I'm gonna give is, if you're still not sure, if somebody came to you and said, hey, if someone came to me, hey Chess, what you said, what you did, actually I found really hard and I'm struggling with it, and it's just not something that I was comfortable with. If someone said that to you, would you change your opinion and would you stop? I think hopefully most of us would. We would listen and say, oh yeah, thank you for letting me know. Of course I can adjust that. Of course I can do this. Even if we didn't or we didn't mean it in the way that they were receiving it, we can adjust our behavior because we care about them. If the person you're talking to or in the relationship with is not listening, and you've said and you've requested a change and they're not open and not listening to that, or they're denying it, saying it doesn't happen, saying it's your fault, again, huge red flag. There's not respect there. There's not mutual understanding that a relationship needs to be comfortable for both people. So I would combine all those pieces, all those tests together. And if you're getting 1, 2, 3, or 4 of those, then I would suggest that this might not be a healthy relationship, and actually we're looking at abuse. Friends, thank you so much for being with me today. Thank you so much for being a part of the club. I really appreciate you all. If you would like some extra support on this, I know this is a hard topic. I do one-on-one coaching, so check out my website, give me a shout, and we can organize something. Please drop me a comment below. Like, subscribe, share, tell the world what a great place the Scapegoat Club is, and let's all be kind and support each other. And let's just no abuse in this world, or a lot less. Let's just, I just wish I didn't have to do this. But friends, I'm waffling. Thank you so much for being here. Please take care, and I will talk to you soon. Bye for now.